things you need to hear. So turn off your tears and listen. Pain throws your heart to the ground. Love turns the whole thing around. No, it won't all go the way it should.
Hi, Cameron Nell here with some great nutrition tips and some recipe ideas. Today we're going to be going through bone broths. Bone broths, if you look back through history, have been used all through the indigenous cultures. A lot of them always used the whole animal. They didn't know when the next meal was coming, so they utilised and tried to get out of that animal as much as they possibly could. And even when they were just down to the bones, they'd even boil up the bones because they knew how nutritionally dense this sort of form of food was. So by boiling up the bones, there's a bunch of great nutritional advantages of it. You know, even old wives' tales says it even helps cure colds. And as we go through some of this information, a lot of it can be stemmed back to say, well, maybe it can. So it'll actually help the body absorb lots of minerals. So there's minerals in there like calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, silicon, you know, sulfur and other trace minerals. A lot of these elements is hard to come by in a bioavailable form. So by having your bone broths and boiling them up is going to be a great way to get a lot of these minerals. The other thing, it breaks down a lot of the cartilage, and by putting a little bit of vinegar or some sort of acid in there, pulls all the calcium out of the bones. So once we can do that, a lot of that good stuff that was in the cartilage and in the bones is now in the water, so that when we drink it, like I've mentioned before in one of the studies, whenever you eat an organ or something like this, a lot of the nutrition will go straight to that part. So anyone with joint issues, or you know, a lot of people nowadays are spending a lot of money on glucosamine and supplements like this. However, once you boil up the stocks, a lot of this glucosamine, the sulfurs, the chondroins, are all starting to become in the water now, so you can drink it. It's very, very cheap. A lot of the butchers and stuff are just throwing these products away because no one likes them, no one wants them. Because we've got so much food out there that we've got so much to choose from, who's going to want the bones or the carcass of a chicken? So these, you know, you can buy them quite cheaply and there's amazing health benefits with them. We can also make a chicken stock, and when you boil up the chicken bones and the chicken heads, you're going to be getting a lot of iodine in the water. You're also getting a lot of thyroid loving sort of supplements and minerals in there as well. So once you've got that in there, let's say someone's got hypothyroidism or they just want to support the metabolism and the health of their thyroid, a fish stock will be awesome. You know, when I was at culinary school, they told us we should only really boil up the fish heads and the bones for about 2 to 3 hours. You know, I think something else to the effect of breaking them down too far came after that sort of time. So with your fish stocks, you know, I'm sure you're going to get a lot of that nutrition out of there with only 2 to 3 hours. As well with the chicken stock that I'm doing, I'm going to be boiling it up for about 12 to 18 hours. The longer the better. The more I can get all those good nutrition out of the bones and the cartilage into that liquid. There's another thing in there. Gelatin is a superfood, and it's been used for a long time as a superfood. Even in some of the war camps and stuff, they found that if they could just at least give them some gelatin and some vegetables, there was enough of the protein in there to make them survive. You know, gelatin has been shown to help cure tuberculosis, diabetes, muscle dysfunctions, infectious diseases, and even cancer. There's some other things in there. It's great for the digestive system. So if you look around, a lot of the cultures also have some sort of soup or something like this before meals, and what it does is just helps really nourish the digestive system and get everything prepared. It'll actually help release a lot more HCl, which will help your stomach do its job the way it needs to. It's got hydrophilic colloids, which means it's water loving. It helps pull water into the parts that need it the most, and I guess that's why it's so good for the digestive system. It's helped really lubricating that system so you can get the most out of it. There's glycine in there also, which helps support phase 2 detoxification. So not only is it helping your digestive system, you know, your thyroid if you're having the fish stock, it can also be supporting your liver as well. So this, you know, there's so many good benefits with it. It'll also inhibit the effects of estrogen, and in the environment nowadays there's so much estrogen going around, from plastic water bottles to soy products, you know, to the parabens which are in underarms, moisturizers, toothpaste, shampoo, conditioners, makeup. So we're getting overloaded with estrogen. So having something like this will just help inhibit some of those effects. Watch along, and I hope you enjoy. Here are all the ingredients. So first thing we need for our chicken stock or our bone broth is some sort of bones. Today we're going to be using chicken bones. So I've just got a chicken carcass that I bought from the Organic Food Network. Then we just need some root vegetables. So today I've just picked out what's in the fridge. I've got some carrots, some celery, I've got some onion there, and then also I'm going to whack in a whole bunch of herbs. I've got some bay leaves, a bit of mint, and some coriander as well. Then I'm going to put in some cracked pepper, a little bit of salt, and then one of the most important things as well is to put in some sort of vinegar or some sort of lemon or lime or something acidic. Because what that does is it actually pulls out all the calcium from the bones and then puts it into the water. And then when it comes to water, I've got a filter, so I've just got filtered water. And the filter that I've got takes out the fluoride, the chlorine and all the heavy metals as well. So I know that when I drink it, I'm not going to get any of those heavy metals or any other toxins either. All we're going to do is grab all the vegetables and just chop it up quite roughly and then throw it straight into the bowl. Carrots are next. Then we're just going to put a few herbs in there. So I'm just going to put a couple bay leaves, maybe two, a little bit of the thyme, a little bit of the mint, just to give it a bit extra flavour. Some there, a little bit of salt. Doesn't have to be too much right now, we can always add seasoning later, but I always like to cook with a bit of salt so it just gets it through all the ingredients. Cracked pepper. Onion as well. Getting rid of the skin. Actually, you know what? We're going to keep the skin on there as well because there's a lot of nutrition in the skin. So we're just going to again roughly chop up the onion, leaving the skin on. Probably looking at about 50 mils of this, so I'm just going to put a bit of a splash in. Just again, it's just we need the acidity to help pull out the calcium from the bones. Last thing, our chicken carcass goes in, and then we're just going to fill it full of water and chuck it on the stove. We're going to bring it to a boil and then just turn it down to simmer. And I'm probably going to leave that for at least 12 hours, try and get it up there for 24 hours. The water will slowly start reducing, so every now and then I've just got to keep checking on every couple of hours and making sure I just top that water up. Here you can see our bone broth starting to boil away, so we're just going to turn the temperature down and leave that to simmer. The other thing we can do as well, see how there's this bit of scum starting to foam around the side of the pot? What we're going to do is just skim that off because sometimes that can give it quite an acidic sort of flavour. So we're just going to skim the scum, you know, anytime we need to before we fill it up with water again. So here's our stock. It's been on the boil for about 18 hours. So I'm quite happy with that. Next step now is just to strain it into a bowl or a container just to get rid of all the bones and anything else in there.